Hey, it's Rachel, and you know that in most of my videos and workshops, I always emphasize that if you want your kids to have positive behavior, it's so much more effective to give them the tools to be successful than to punish them for doing something that honestly, often they don't have the tools to do in the right way. Now, it's the holiday season as I record this, but the tips I'm going to give you today about making the holiday season more peaceful apply to all year round. So one of the things I want to mention is that if you want to avoid lots of power struggles over the holiday season when your kids are home and there's a lot less structure, recognize that they don't have the tools to effectively transition from the thing they're doing that feels good to something they don't really care about. So for example, if they're watching videos and they have to come to the dinner table, transitioning to those video games or whatever the TV that they're watching is something that feels good, and it's hard for them to transition to something they don't care as much about, like dinner. Or it may be hard for them to transition to a really fun party, to getting in the car to leave. It may be difficult to get them to transition from having fun with the family to going to bed. And sometimes it's even hard for them to transition from something that's fun to another thing that's fun. The key here is that transitions are very difficult for children. And in fact, if we're being honest, they're difficult for us as adults too. I mean, if we're in the middle of something, even if it's something like writing an email to someone and our mind is sort of in that place, it's frustrating to have to transition out of that if your kids are sort of pulling on your sleeve and wanting your attention while you're in a certain mental space. It's hard for you to transition as well. And the truth is that the part of the brain that allows people to transition is not fully developed in children. So if it's hard for us as adults, it's even harder for them as children. Now, that doesn't mean we don't ask them to transition. We just have to remember that instead of punishing them for not listening to us, we have to give them the tools to transition. So I really have two tips over this holiday season. One is just set realistic expectations for your kids and recognize that it is going to be really hard to just have them stop doing what they're doing and go right into what we want them to do. But since they do need to do the things that they have to do, we also need to give them the tools to transition. And basically what this means is we need to give them a bridge that connects from the world that they're in that feels good to the world that we want them to be in. So for younger kids, this might look like helping them to slowly come out of their fun space as we walk them to what they need to do next. So for example, if they need to get into the car, maybe they were playing with Legos or playing with something that they were building or a doll, whatever they were doing, maybe have them bring something with them to the car, and that way you're sort of providing a bridge. Or if they have to leave a party, which is really fun, and they were really excited to be at the party, but they have to go home now, maybe you play a game with them as they're walking to the car so that feel-good feeling slowly decreases as they get to the place where they don't want to go. Or if you're having them stop what they're doing that's really fun to go to bed, maybe you have them do something while they're lying there that actually engages their brain and can be even a little bit entertaining for them. Maybe they make up a story as they're falling asleep. That's not going to take too much energy, so it's not going to keep them awake, but at least it keeps them engaged, which is what they were doing before we asked them to go to sleep. Now, if you have older children, they might not want to play games or bring things in the car with them, but you still need to create this bridge. So let's say you're picking them up at a friend's house and they were having a really good time. You can either ask them about what they were doing with their friend and help them extend that feeling, or if your kids don't really feel like talking to you about what they were doing, you can ask them about something else that interests them. The key is to help them maintain that feeling for a little while, help them slowly transition it out of it into the thing that they don't feel like doing, because they do have to still do that thing. If you have an older child, you can also just ask them about things that they're interested in. So if they were watching something on Netflix and then they have to come to the dinner table, ask them about the shows that they're watching and maybe even tell them what shows you've been watching lately. You want to maintain that engagement in their brain for a little while longer so that eventually they can slowly decrease that feeling and be able to be in the place where they need to be a little bit more responsible. So I hope that gives you some tips that'll help you get through this holiday season or any season with fewer power struggles. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me at rachel@rachel-bailey.com. Until then, I will see you next time.